Now, it really gets wild the next day. So someone sends me this guy is literally live streaming, driving up the trails on Hunter, not up a Jeep trail, up the ski trails on Hunter Mountain to drive back up to the lean-to to remove the graffiti. Apparently, he's had a change of heart now. So he's going up there with a battery-powered power sander, and he gets up to the lean-to, and he's live streaming the whole thing. He's kind of doing a selfie video. He's kind of ranting and raving, and he's drawing equivalencies between the carved graffiti on the lean-to and what he did, and he's kind of backing off his. Originally, he was a little apologetic.
Welcome to Inside the Line, the Catskills. So welcome everyone to episode 13 of Inside the Line, the Catskills. I'm your host, Tosh. Tonight I had a great chat with Mike from the ADKfunpolice, an Instagram phenomenon. I had to leave out the Catskills histories because he was on a tight schedule. So I decided to record the Catskills history afterwards. So let's get into some Catskills history, eh? Tonight's Catskill history is about fire towers in the Catskills. Now, we all know the fire towers, of course, through the Fire Tower Challenge mostly, but the fire towers offer the best views in the Catskills, 360-degree views. We all know them, hopefully. If you don't, check them out, but remember to leave no trace, as always. The fire towers were constructed for forest fire prevention and control in the Catskills. 23 towers were built between 1908 and 1950. The towers fell into disuse by the 1970s as fire spotting from airplanes and satellite became more effective, and the towers were gradually decommissioned. The Hunter Mountain Fire Tower was the last to be taken out of service in 1990. Most of the towers have been dismantled, but 5 have remained open to the public for observation. Hunter Mountain, Balsam Lake, Overlook, Tremper, and Red Hill. Red Hill is one of my favorites. When the Catskill Park was created in 1885, one of the state's earliest missions was the control and the suppression of forest fires, which has long ravaged the land and damaged local crops and property. Wardens were hired to patrol railroad lines where stray ashes from steam engines often ignited surrounding brush and investigate reports of fires started by logging or quarrying operations on state land. The FFGC, which is Forest, Fish, and Game Commission, which was the DEC's predecessor, was understaffed and unable to focus on fire prevention. Sounds like this day and age. Several fires during droughts in 1903 and 1908 caused thousands of dollars in damages and led to public calls for better fire control efforts. In December 1908, FFGC head James Whipple sought advice from agencies in other states. His counterpart in Maine, E. Ring, recommended that he use the strategically placed observation towers like they did in Maine, stating that one man located at a station up high will do far more effective work in discovering and locating fires than 100 men patrolling the ground. An informal system of observation towers, which already existed on some summits, like Slide, and I forgot the other ones, maybe Graham at the time, provided excellent places to station the first trained observers who could see vast portions of the range and report location of new fires quickly via dedicated telephone lines. The area around Hunter has historically been very fire-prone due to the heavy logging. Remember that? I'll have that in histories later on, and that might be an episode. Less than 1 square mile or 2.6 square kilometers of virgin forest remains on Hunter Mountain. All the rest of it was logged. That was a big logging area. Lightning strikes also caused fires up there. The following year, forest rangers built the first Hunter Mountain Fire Tower, which was a 40-foot structure made from 3 trees on level ground near the summit. It was one of the first fire towers looked out in the Catskills. Observers stood on an open platform and had to first live in a nearby tent until a cabin was built. I've been on a fire platform up in Vermont. Amazing, beautiful feeling, like no other. It definitely beats out that cabin with the windows. It's just amazing. It's like you're on a diving board. Really cool stuff. In 1996, Hunter and the other 4 towers were added to the Historic Lookout Register and then to the National Register the following year. Local committees raised money for the repair, and in 1999, the tower on Overlook Mountain was the first to be reopened to the public. Wow, that's 1999 is 22 years ago? Holy crap. The Catskill Center for Conservation and Development has worked hard in partnership with the New York State DEC since the early 1990s to maintain the remaining 5 historic fire towers and interpret them seasonally for hikers and visitors. Through the dedication of countless volunteers, we thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do. You are the heart of the Catskills. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank all your volunteers as many times as you can. As well as assistance and support from the DEC staff, the last of the 5 remaining Catskill towers were restored and reopened to the public in 2000. Since then, volunteers-based committees organized for each of the towers have continued to maintain structures and, in many cases, renovate observer towers as well. Thank you, volunteers, once again. Today, a network of more than 100 volunteers also acts as summer stewards by greeting visitors on weekend from May through October. It's pretty cool stuff of the fire towers. A lot. I got to research even more because I know there was towers on other mountains, but they were not observation towers. So I'll have to look into that. Once again, thank the volunteers for their hard work on those fire towers. They get a lot of traffic. They've gotten a lot of traffic from the Fire Tower Challenge, which was a rough time. Thank you, Lori Rankin. I believe she is the FFLA, Forest Fire Lookout Association. She's part of that, and she runs the stuff going on in the Catskills for the fire towers. So thank you guys for doing all that you do. Go into the topic of the night, which is Mike and the Adirondack Fun Police. Enjoy. All right. So we are live. Welcome to episode 12, 13. I don't remember, of Inside the Line, the Catskills. I'm here with Mike from the Adirondack Fun Police, or the ADKfunpolice, an Instagram phenomenon. Would you say that is, Mike?
That's fair.
Okay. I was going to say,
yeah, my expectations.
Well, it's apparently we'll talk about your job as the Adirondack Fun Police in a few minutes. But I would like to thank our sponsor, Scenic Route Guiding, whatever you want, Sarah. I'm sick and tired of doing it. I'm going to do it my way, Sarah. So Scenic Route Guiding, thanks for sponsoring us. If you're ready to hit the trails, make sure you take the Scenic Route. Our guides here are to help you with your goals, big or small. Check out the Scenic Route Guiding and gear rentals on Instagram and Facebook for more information. And if you mention the podcast, you can get 10% off. Use the code word Mountain Lion. Remember that mountain lions exist everywhere, but nobody can catch them. But I would also thank Katrina Weining, Darren White, and John Comiskey for being monthly sponsors. And I would like to thank someone for donating 5 coffees, which is incredible. Thank you guys for donating to the show. Hopefully we can make this bigger and extend the word out of everything we're trying to do and trying to help out the trails and stuff. So Mike, you having anything to drink tonight, buddy?
Unfortunately, not yet. I'm still in the office finishing up a long day here. And, I have an empty decanter I've been meaning to fill up, but unfortunately it's empty for now. So nothing yet tonight. Okay,
good. Don't have it at work.
Yeah.
It's an OSHA violation. I'm having, it's called Beaverkill Bourbon and eggnog.
Oh,
absolutely phenomenal.
It is eggnog season. I gotta pick myself up some.
Oh yeah, it is definitely. I've been craving eggnog for a while, and they have it right in front of me when I go to work and stuff. So I'm just like, I'm getting it.
Makes it easy.
Yeah, and this Beaverkill Bourbon is local down in Roscoe towards us, and
nice.
It's phenomenal. It's like cinnamon and maple syrup and everything. It's absolutely delicious. So I was gonna do the history. Tonight's history is going to be fire towers, but I'm going to record that after the talk with Mike, so we can get through that stuff and just get the fun stuff out of the way first. So Mike, Adirondack Fun Police, Instagram phenomenon, helped out in many times in different places on the trails. Mike, introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, so my name is Mike. I go incognito, so it's kind of the mystique of the account, and just kind of started that way and still go that way. But yeah, originally from foothills of the Adirondacks, up Glens Falls. Grew up, all across the park at a family place up north outside of Tupper Lake. Grew up all over Lake George. So the Adirondacks are, they're my backyard. So it's always been a place I, near and dear to my heart. And the Catskills too. My parents actually lived in the Catskills. I was down in Hunter for Thanksgiving. So Catskills are are a close second to me. I haven't yet come up with the time to start the Catskills Fun Police, but I've been dragged that way a few times so far.
Well, You're doing an incredible job. And that's awesome. I'm glad you actually like part of the Catskills. So that's good. So
Absolutely.
you at least know some of the Catskills. So that's
The lay
good.
of the land. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So Mike, do you specifically hike in the Adirondacks, and do you hike at all?
Yeah, my wife and I do a lot of hiking. We're chipping away at the 46. We're in no rush, but generally we try to avoid the higher altitudes, the crowded hikes in the summer. Winter is really my hiking season.
Damn straight.
We try to keep away from the crowds. We got into canoeing pretty good in the last couple of years, and whether it's canoeing or the lower altitudes, that's where you'll find me in the summer. But winter, I get up higher above the higher elevations.
That's great. That's perfect because I've heard horror stories up there in the Adirondacks with the high peaks.
Yeah, just getting up at 4:30 in the morning, it's just not my cup of tea if I don't have to.
4:30 in the morning, you might get a parking spot, you might not.
That's true. Maybe more like three of these days, I guess. That's true.
Yeah, it's been a crazy past 2 years, and then even before that when it started, but the past 2 years have been insane. So
It really has. I early on, or I guess kind of spring, early summer after the pandemic, I got some great hiking in because everyone was staying home. I'm like, I'm going up there. There was no one out there. It was get up at a reasonable hour and get out on the trail and get down before darkness. So yeah, it was kind of interesting, really surreal to have some beautiful days up there and have beach absolutely empty. Really, really crazy.
yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to judge people and single people out, but the all the city people come up to the Adirondacks and the Catskills and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
having the biggest city in the United States 3-4 hours away from you is tough, and it does crowd the places. So having that
that's true.
time, I gotta admit, having that time where we had, the peaks to ourselves and stuff like that was really awesome.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Nice
But
to see people starting to come back and get out there again. But it's like I say, you can kind of point to the accounts as as long as people are doing it right, being responsible, being safe, the more the merrier. But it's these if you get 1% of the people that are doing things improperly, they really have an exponential negative impact. So it's kind of a fair appraisal of what we try to do in terms of education.
exactly. Well, that's a perfect way to say it. So what exactly got you to do this?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, we really the fun started as a kind of a Reddit thing early on. We would see people post things on the Adirondacks Reddit or the hiking Reddit, where they're really doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing. Whether it's for an example, a common example that comes up is someone flying a drone in a wilderness area, or stacking rocks, where they shouldn't be stacking rocks and things like that. And people would generally respond to people who would do these posts and say, hey, listen, like, you shouldn't do that. It's against the rules, or it's against the law, or it's just not a leave no trace thing to do. And sometimes the response would be negative. These people would act like they were being personally attacked because their behavior was being pointed out. And so it kind of started as a joke. There's me and maybe two or three other people on Reddit where we're like, oh, I guess we're just the fun police. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start it. Let's have some fun. And it was never supposed to be more than 10, 20 people just kind of being curmudgeons behind the scenes. The next thing I know, I've got 3, 4, 500 members of the subreddit, and people are active. They're posting examples of things they see. They're posting memes. They're asking questions. And it really started blowing up. And I'm like, like, okay, this started as one thing, and it's becoming something else really completely organically. And it was really pretty amazing to watch. About a month or so in, when we were hitting about the multiple hundreds of followers, I said, all right, let's take it to Instagram. Let's take it to ground zero of the social media and influencer land, and see if we can do some good over there. And it's from there it's really continued to blow up.
Awesome. That is great. You see, I like, I didn't find out, I wasn't a big Instagram kind of guy. And that's where, I've taken my page to and stuff like that, my Inside the Lens podcast. And I saw some of your stuff, and I saw your post about Hunter, which we'll get into later.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this guy, and I look at your stuff, I'm like, this guy's awesome. I'm like, do you make your own memes?
Most of them I do.
Nice.
Most of them I do. I got a good program, and I'll go through some templates and try to see what works. Probably about 25% of them actually make it on there. I've got a few people, my wife included, that I'll ask their opinions and see, like, is this funny? This is funny to me. Is this funny to you?
Nice.
See if my sense of humor translates. But yeah, they're generally, some of them will be shared, some of them come from other accounts, but a lot of it is organic, homegrown memes. So it's it's fun.
That is great, and that goes a pretty far away with a meme. I gotta admit, any Karen stuff is like that. People get triggered, or they love it.
Yep. Exactly.
And I'm all about kicking the Karens down unless they're navigational Karens.
Exactly.
So.
And that's been, not to digress too much, but that's been one thing I kind of struggle with. And I really, it's a point where we're missing some guidance from, I guess, some of the land managers and authorities is, I'm telling people go out there and kick Karens, but don't kick navigational or official Karens. And, generally it's pretty obvious to see, like, you go up Cascade or Algonquin, the official Karens, they're gigantic.
Yep.
But, I'm just, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm dreading the day where someone sends me a video of them knocking down, a navigational Karen above 4,000 feet or above 5,000 feet. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm worried about it.
I don't, the funny thing, I don't see that happening. I mean,
I hope not.
I got to admit that a common person can tell the difference between a art with quotations,
sure.
Karen, and, a navigational massive Karen that'll guide you through 8 feet of snow.
That's true. And that's generally what I tell people is when
Exactly.
It's something on a herd path in the back country, might be questionable, but your official, maintained Karens, they are pretty obvious. That's a fair point.
Yeah, definitely. So, you looking at your page, you have over almost 4,000 followers, man. That is insane. I got like 150. So I'm just like, and then other people, some of my other podcast friends have, like 300-400, almost 4,000. That is insane. Did this take off like quickly? Did it happen like snap?
Yeah. There was probably, I'd say there was a few waves, generally it's pretty steady growth, but there's been a few kind of catalysts that have really propelled the growth. The obvious one early on was just coming to Instagram, did a first post, shared it. On my personal account, I had a few people that I interacted with, that were kind of similar minded, and I followed them, and they had pretty big followings, and they shared a couple things. And so I got to 1,000 followers, I'd say pretty quickly. After that, like I said, there's catalysts, whether it's an especially good meme that gets shared a few times, brings in some people, and something we started doing early on, there was a lot of memes and a lot of commentary, but it almost turned into, I guess, news in a way, or it's kind of like quasi journalism in that, when the AMR up in the Adirondacks implemented their permit system, we had a lot of commentary on that. We did a deep dive into what the permits are, what's right about them, what's wrong about them. And that got a lot of traction too. So yeah, there's been a few fits and starts that have really pushed us forward and up to these, really, really crazy numbers. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. I'm looking at your pages and I love it. I mean, how much fun did you have with the guy driving the Jeep up to the Marcy Dam?
That was a blast. I mean, that happened, I think last summer. I don't know exactly when, but it was right when, it was one of the catalysts to really starting the Fun Police, was bringing attention to things like that, because, it was just such a wild occurrence. I mean, who does that, but we had a lot of fun with that. It definitely got a lot of attention. And that's actually one of our new merch designs. We incorporated that into a design on some t-shirts and stuff. So that's been a good seller. It's one of my favorites.
So sweet. So we'll talk about that later. Your merch thing. I didn't know you had a merch. That's wicked.
Brand new. Last week or so we came out.
Awesome. That is so cool. We'll talk about that at the end. So what do you think got it going so fast? I'm guessing the funny with the serious, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it, I think. I think we tapped into a lot of frustration. There's a lot of people out there who live in the park or who don't live in the park, but they love the park. There's a lot of people with vested interest. And I say the park, this is all very Adirondack centric, but we really share so much with the Catskills, with the White Mountains, with the Green Mountains, and even the national parks. These issues aren't just Adirondack issues. They might be amplified in certain areas, but these are really universal issues. And there's a lot of people in this country that really care about our public lands. Public lands are really sacred to people, and they really, they're part of their identity. So I think I tapped into some frustration that people have with, whether you call it disrespect of public lands or abuse of public lands, where people kind of latched on to the kind of irreverent tone, the kind of, angsty or frustration that we tap into, and we kind of put a humorous spin on it. So I think we had a lot of people, that shared the sentiments of what we were doing. And then I think once we got going, once we had those initial followers, I think some people actually started to look for us for substance. I've had a number of people message me and say, hey, like, I didn't know this was something I should think about. I didn't know that, maybe I should carry, extra batteries, or that I shouldn't rely on my phone for light, something like that's maybe more common sense. But, some people don't know these things. People they got to start somewhere. Or, I didn't know I should leave my jeans at home, But yeah,
Yes.
so we definitely turned a corner a little bit into some things of substance and education like that. And I think that's further compounded our growth.
Yeah. And what better way to reach out to people through a meme?
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right.
And education, like right now, I've done a lot of stuff in the past couple of years with volunteering, and I hate to brag, but I was the second vice president of the Catskill 3500 Club.
Okay.
And the topic I would bring up is education, because some of these people see a post on Facebook or Instagram and they're like, I want to go there, and they have no clue what to do.
You hit the nail on the head, and that's, it's kind of become an unofficial motto or a mantra of mine in doing this is, education and enforcement. A lot of the people I interact with, where they're doing something wrong, whether it's a drone user taking off from wilderness, or again, someone stacking rocks or something like that, I'd say 75, 80, 90% of people, they just don't know. There's no easy way for them to find out, am I in wilderness right now? Can I launch my drone? Or, am I can I have my dog here with me or no? Should I have it on a leash or not? There's just not a lot of, granted, you could find the answer if you Google it, but these are kind of things that people don't know whether they should Google or not. I don't want to make excuses for people. The answers are out there if you look for them, but people, they just don't know. And we need to make it easy for them to know, to figure out the answers to these questions. And for those people that aren't going to listen, we need enforcement. We need rangers in the backcountry. We need, front country infrastructure to back them up. Because then that's how things are going to get done. Those are, in my opinion, the first line of defense. We need to focus on those things before we do any sort of permits or access restrictions or anything like that, because I don't think we've tried education enforcement. I don't think we've given those avenues the justice they need, before we start looking at these more draconian measures. Yeah.
And luckily, we do have people stepping up to the plate for the education part, like the Adirondack 46ers Club.
Definitely.
They're trailhead stewards and they're summit stewards. I believe they do that. Down here, we got the Catskill 3500 Club, who has put a lot of time into stewards of the trailheads. That's a big thing that's just starting out for us. Summit stewards down here are huge. Actually, I'm going to be having an interview with one of the summit stewards. Her name is Myra. I met her at Slide, and it'll be a great interview.
Definitely. You're absolutely right. I think the summit stewards, the trailhead stewards do so much. I've actually had a lot of my early kind of source material and, the early things that we talked about came directly from some summit stewards who I think, had some frustration with the things they saw. And, granted, they do a great service in educating people, but there's that very, very slim minority of people that don't care, that, maybe tell them to, go take a hike or something, but yeah, definitely there's a lot of good being done by a lot of good people who care for our land. So no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people think, they see stuff on the side of the trail, that's 1% of the 99% of hikers, like leave no trace and stuff like that. And they're littering and stuff. You got to admit, of all the people, it's like a 1%. But that on a small 3-foot wide trail is enough to ruin the day.
Absolutely. It's the kind of activity where any human trace, I guess, is no pun intended, but is really amplified. And you get 1,000 hikers. If maybe 10 people are that person, it's going to be noticeable, and it's going to detract from the experience and just sustainability of the trails. Absolutely.
And that's why we got funny people like you to drill it into their heads of what to do and what not to
Trying
do.
to.
It's working. It's working. I think it's working. So that's
I
good.
hope so. I hope so.
So what is with all that's been going on and stuff like that in the past couple of years, what has been the hottest like topic that you've been engaging in?
Yeah, a few come to mind. A lot of it is just general, leave no trace principles. Dealing with the rock stacks obviously are huge. One thing that was an early hot button issue for us was drone usage. The rule is you can't launch or land a drone in areas designated as wilderness, canoe, or primitive areas. Or if it's on private land, you can't launch if the landowner, land manager prohibits it. And unfortunately, a lot of the best, most photogenic areas for drones happen to be wilderness areas. So,
Oh yeah.
whether it's someone launching on top of a high peak or something like that, that's definitely been a big issue. A lot of the issues, just general preparation, the importance of a headlamp and extra batteries, the dangers of cotton, the importance of signing in the trail register, a lot of just nuts and bolts stuff, and just really hitting it over and over again to drive it home to people. Some of the more notable issues, I'd say, maybe the more the hot button issues that maybe don't, they're maybe more like one and done or kind of single serving issues. It's like, so AMR was a big one, the AMR permit system.
Oh yeah.
So that was huge. It's still huge, and I encourage everyone to pay attention to what's going on there. Hold everybody responsible. In conjunction with that, they put up a bunch of reflectors, delineators that actually blocked off some parking areas on Route 73. So things like that got a lot of attention. Obviously, the Marcy Dam Jeep. It's tough to pick just one issue because it really is. The second I think things are quieting down, something else pops up. So it's really one thing after another.
Yeah, it's it was probably the fall foliage, and now it's going to quiet down for a month or two, and then all of a sudden it's going to be snowshoes and stuff like that.
That's exactly, yep. And that's another rule we try to hit on is I forget what it is now. I think in the High Peaks Eastern Zone, snowshoes are required if there's, I think it used to be 6 inches, but now it's 8 inches of snow on the trail.
Yeah, it's 8.
Is it 8 now? Yeah. No, just change that. But yeah, I've actually heard of people getting tickets for not doing that. So that's something I like to remind people of is, that's they're not messing around up there.
Oh man, there's so many means you could do with this stuff up there.
It really is. There really is.
It's so crazy. Like I'm just thinking of stuff like, of course it's going to be that, what's his name? Boromir, like brace yourself, snowshoes are coming.
Yep. I think I might have done something like that. There might be a Boromir on my account somewhere. And I think you mentioned it.
I mean, it works. And the same thing down here. We have like brace yourself, questions about spikes are going to be coming.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's here now. I mean, I'm looking at my window now here in Saratoga, and there's snow on the ground, and there's been snow on the ground in the higher altitudes for a few weeks now. So that's all been icing up. It's winter time in the mountains, that's for sure.
Definitely. And that's the best time.
Absolutely.
So with some of these incidents and stuff like that, I know that Hunter, I think you instigated that one as well with the Rangers. Have the Rangers like reached out to you, or you reached out to the Rangers and they've responded back for helping?
Yeah, early on, I realized some Rangers have Instagram accounts, and I saw some that were following me. I'm like, that's a huge honor to me that people are paying attention, that there's maybe some value in what I'm doing. And I've had some conversations with Rangers, and they're generally supportive of the I certainly don't speak for them, but I think there's some frustration on their part as well as, there's some of the lack of support they get from the state. These Rangers, the areas they cover, when you look at them and you talk to them and see the territories that they're responsible for, I mean, it's huge. And we as the public expect so much from them to enforce the rules, to come rescue us when we break an ankle, to do so much. We really need more Rangers. And I think sorry, I'm deviating on a political point there, but
no, that's perfect, man. I mean, you're bringing up a great point. I mean, the same thing is going on here. These Rangers have so much to cover and so little time with so little resources.
Yeah. But I think they've been generally supportive of the messaging. I've had some Rangers ask me to, maybe post, like I did a post recently about, that included the Ranger dispatch number. That's because people were sending me things. And like, listen, like I can post about them and we can have a laugh about them. But if you really want something to get done, if you see something like some of these behaviors, call the Rangers. Your first call should be Ranger Dispatch, not the ADK Fun Police. Call me second, but call the Rangers first because they're going to be the ones that can actually get out there and do something about it. An example comes to mind. Someone was hiking Cascade probably about a year or so ago and sent me a picture of a full-fledged campsite. They were having a fire. They had a tent right on the summit of Cascade.
Oh,
And
wow.
you can't do that. So I ended up reaching out to Ranger Dispatch myself. And by the time that person had gotten down the mountain, a ranger had arrived to go up top and take care of their campsite. So, the Rangers do respond. They do care about these issues and these things. So I'd say don't hesitate about it. If you see something, an illegal campsite, illegal fire, someone doing something they shouldn't be doing back there, let the Rangers know because they track this stuff and they can respond. And, even though they're overworked, they do care about doing a good job. So, that's, I would say to definitely take your local Ranger Dispatch number, add it to your phone. It comes in handy.
Oh yeah. Every hiker should probably have that for in case of emergency and for other topics as well.
Yeah,
and, a lot of people think, talking to those people or like people telling them to mind their own business, you're helping out the Rangers, number one. And if you get the contact with the Rangers, you're not being a snitch. You're helping out the land. They're helping out the wilderness.
And you know what? That's something I've given a lot of thought to, because in so many other aspects of our lives, we wouldn't hesitate to call the police or to tell someone, hey, stop it. If you saw someone spray painting, your office or something like that, you would do something about it. Or if you saw someone like throwing, nails into the road, you would do something about it. This really, in my opinion, it's not any different. We were down in the Catskills over Thanksgiving, and we did a little walking around the Platte Clove area.
Ooh,
and
great place.
Entire shattered bottle of Svedka vodka on the rock. And I'm like, you know what? Like, this is no worse than someone doing this in a grocery store, in my opinion. So, I'd say to the extent people might be hesitant to contact the authorities because they see something in the woods, look at it this way. It's no different from protecting, any other public land or your own property to that extent. Don't be shy.
Yeah, that's what I tell people, and, you might get attitude, but in the long run, like I had an episode where my friend said, he would be like, the Rangers coming, and they would like croak crazy and then pack everything up. And it's just like that's a great way to do it. Be like, I saw a Ranger back in the parking area.
One thing on that point, and you might be interested, or your listeners might, a strategy that I did some post about fairly recently it's called authority of the resource. And I won't go into it a ton, but it's a strategy to engage people who you see doing something, whether it's feeding wildlife or stacking rocks or something. Just a way to engage people that's kind of been studied and is really proven to work and to play off people's own investment in public lands. So that's something that I've found beneficial in engaging people on social media. That is kind of a proven, endorsed way to get those messages across constructively.
Excellent. I'll have to check that out, and I'll have to repost it. So yeah, we've been actually talking about this whole time. Do you think the ADK Fun Police is helping out with the public and stuff with the lands?
I hope so. I think it does. As I mentioned before, kind of my mantra is it's education and enforcement, and education comes first for a reason. I've had a number of people, I don't know if it's hundreds or tens or how many, but I've had a notable amount of people reach out to me and tell me that they've learned something from the accounts or that they've gotten some benefit from the message, whether it's they've been able to communicate with someone else effectively about, educating them about the outdoors, or whether they themselves have learned something. I try to read into those things and the fact that I'm gaining followers, not losing them, try to read into that. There's really no other metric for whether I'm doing something right. There's not a lot of feedback, aside from people who reach out to me. So I think looking at that, I think I'm doing something right. Time will tell, but I'm certainly optimistic that we're having some benefit.
I mean, I think you are. I've looked back and see all those posts and the shirts looking stuff like "Not Today Hippie" and the skateboarding is really funny stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that gets a lot of a meme goes further than just a little typing of something.
You're exactly right. Who reads a brochure, right? But a meme takes 3 seconds, and it might, pique your interest in something, and branch out to some real substantive education. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm glad they got this going. So the hunter John Roblin too, if any of our listeners don't remember or haven't heard of this, an idiot went up to Hunter Mountain, went to the amazing spot on John Roblin to and graffitied the rock and the lean-to, and it started like wildfire when somebody posted it. Did you? So you remember? I remember you had some involvement with this. You were kind of like one of the first to get it going, like on fire. So like, how did that all happen? You just see it on like
a lot of the time, the way I'll come up with it, people will send me something and I'll do a post about it. So that's how a lot of the content comes about. So someone had sent me this picture of the lean-to. It was posted in one of the Facebook, I think the Catskills Trails Condition Facebook group. And I'm like, all right, well, it's the Catskills, but this is pretty freaking egregious. I think everyone who follows me will get some benefit over seeing what's going on. So I post it, and I'm like, probably some snarky caption to it. And it just goes, it was spreading like wildfire on Facebook, and I certainly added fuel to that fire in terms of, making people aware of this. Now, what this guy did is on top of the lean-to, the lean-to graffiti, he had spray painted his Instagram handle, like a art one that he does. And it wasn't too long after that people were able to track down his personal page. Part of the reason they were able to do that is that this guy had done the exact same design he did on the rock and the lean-to on some boat in Newburgh. So this was his signature mark. So people tracked this guy down, and he responded very poorly. Instead of maybe taking the post down or just going making his account private and backing off, he starts engaging with people, and there's arguments all over the place. He's on my page, he's on his own page. I don't know if he's on Facebook. So I get to the point, I'm like, all right, I'm not dealing with this. I can't patrol all these comments. People are getting pretty nasty. So I shut down the comments on my page, and I'm like, enough of that. But it kept going for a while on his page. After that, I had through one of the contacts I have, who's a ranger in the Adirondacks, got the contact information for a local ranger who has hunter in his jurisdiction. And I reached out to him and kind of let him know, hey, I think we've identified the individual who did this. I think we have his personal account. Here's the information. Apparently they had been aware of the graffiti for about a week, and they didn't really have any leads. So I gave him a lead. He was appreciative, and I thought that was pretty much it. I'm like, oh, and so we'll see what happens. Now it really gets wild the next day. So someone sends me this guy is literally live streaming, driving up the trails on Hunter, not up a Jeep trail, up the ski trails on Hunter Mountain to drive back up to the lean-to to remove the graffiti. Apparently he's had a change of heart now. So he's going up there with a battery powered power sander, and he gets up to the lean-to, and he's live streaming the whole thing. He's kind of doing a selfie video. He's kind of ranting and raving, and he's drawing equivalencies between the carved graffiti on the lean-to and what he did. And he's kind of backing off originally he was a little apologetic and contrite, but he's kind of backing off that now. He says, well, I actually don't think I did anything wrong. And I think what eventually happens, I think he runs out of battery in his grinder, the sander. He gets in his car to go back down the mountain. Now, I'm thinking to myself, I'm kind of going back and forth, like, okay, well, what do I do here? I know where he is right now. He's literally broadcasting from the top of the mountain. So I call the ranger back and I say, hey, listen, this guy's literally on top of Hunter Mountain right now trying to take the graffiti down. And he's like, really? Like, are you serious? I'm like, dead serious. So from here, it's my understanding that he, I didn't speak to that ranger again until later, but it's my understanding that, he got in touch with local enforcement. He let the ski area know, and they're waiting for him at the bottom of the mountain. Now, unfortunately, he didn't quite make it that far. Remember, he was driving on the ski slopes and got himself stuck in a snowbank from snow guns from the ski area getting ready to open the season. So the Rangers have to go up the mountain with ski area personnel, drag him out of a snowbank. He follows him down the mountain where he's arrested. I think he was charged with 2 or 3 misdemeanor accounts and had a court date coming up in the village of Hunter, I think. But yeah, long story short, not long ago, I'd say within the last couple of weeks, I heard that he was reaching out to people who he engaged with and apologizing, essentially saying, I realized what I did was wrong. I shouldn't have done this. And he actually, a few days after that, he actually sent me a message saying essentially that same thing. So lesson learned the hard way, I guess. But certainly a one of the more legendary stories, I'd say, if that's a fair appraisal.
Definitely a legendary story. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I didn't know he was live streaming that.
Yeah. I don't know if he still has them up. I could send you them if you're interested. I'm sure he took them down with hopefully at his attorney's advice, take down the evidence of the crime. But yeah, he had a whole live stream of Instagram stories about him driving up there. It was wild. It was wild.
How dumb can you get?
Yeah.
Oh, all for the Instagram, all for the gram.
Yep, exactly what it is. Yeah, it's all about that content. He was, and that was one of the things he was provoking people with. He was saying, "Oh, I've gotten so much attention over this, and I think the thing that really set people over the edge was a comments. He started responding by copying and pasting the same responses, and he said, the whole country's understaffed. The state's not going to get me. They're not going to do anything about this. I was like, well, okay, challenge accepted, and they did. So, lesson learned, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. So my friend who has a podcast in the White Mountains reached out to him, and he said, "This like, maybe you did this and you had no clue." And then they're like, "No, you're an asshole." And then
yeah,
progressed as that way. And he goes, the guy said, "I have it right here. I really appreciate your entertaining and kind words. I really mean that. I'm okay with being an asshole. It won't happen again. Give you my word."
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like he would be kind of apologetic like that, but then also say like, "I'm a vandal. It's what I do." So it's kind of, I think people were kind of a little confused. Like, is this guy? Did he learn his lesson? Is he apologetic? I don't know, but I think the end result is that, he was. Unfortunately, it took some public resources and a criminal charge to get him there. But yeah, we were actually, it was picked up by the Times Union. We actually had I was quoted in a story about this issue. It was an above the fold front page story for the Times Union. So it's definitely there's some attention to be paid out there for issues like this. It's a little sensational, but definitely interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing is, I'm looking on my Instagram. I reached out to him a while ago, and I think he might have deleted his account.
Oh, no kidding. Was that his personal account or which? Let's see. He's still out there.
One of them. But like seriously, I reached out to him. Was like, dude, you want to try to redeem yourself through my podcast?
Yeah.
And he's just like, God, what'd he say? He's just like, I think it might be too much for you, bro. And I was like, what?
What does that even mean, right?
This is like,
he might have blocked you because I just checked. He's still up. He's still up there.
Oh, he probably blocked me. Nice. I didn't say anything bad either. I was a nice guy.
I don't know why he wouldn't block me. I was probably a little less tactful, but
yeah. Well, that's great that you helped out. Definitely, that's awesome. And I know the Ranger over there. That's Ranger Dawson, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, he is an awesome guy. He's a great guy. He went through a lot of shit when COVID was happening because everybody was coming to the Catterskill Clove.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh man, that was a disaster. And everybody was just like, "You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough." I'm like, he's the only one. Shut the hell up.
Exactly right. I think the frustrations Rangers have are largely the same as the public. And the ire, not that there should be ire, but the focus there it shouldn't be on the Rangers. It's really got to be on our legislators and our lawmakers to get the resources there, or to DEC administration to allocate the resources, because your boots on the ground people, they're there doing what they can. They can't hire more people. They can't, put more gas in their car. That all comes from the budget process and from administration. So, yeah, no, absolutely. Those people deserve our respect, and we need to go to the people above them to get the resources we need.
Definitely.
Yeah, he was a funny story about Catterskill. Actually, I'd actually just proposed to my wife.
Congratulations.
We were up on Artist Rock up on the escarpment trail up there with this people. We were coming down, we were taking some pictures, and this is before the Fun Police, before any of this, probably my more formative, conservationist years. But there's some girl hula hooping on the precipice of the falls, and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, "Are you serious?"
Oh man, no way.
Just stuff like that. You see, it's really and that was that was right after they added the parking lot at the top of the falls there, right after they improved that area. So they just made it more accessible. But yeah, hula hooping on the top. I'm like, that's a express ticket to the ranger reports right there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that area is absolutely insane.
Definitely.
I've seen well, I can't say I've seen it over the internet, but like I go up there at the smartest times, early in the morning or late at night, where everybody, not on the weekends, but on the weekends, like I went up to Catterskill Falls, and over the weekend, I think it was July 4th, I knew they got destroyed. I heard so much, I saw so much. So I went down and I started cleaning stuff up at one of the parking areas. My God, I did 5 or 6 trash bags.
Jesus.
And I saw Dawson, of course, and I know him through search and rescue, and he's an awesome guy. And we were talking a little bit, and I'm just like, you guys are being strung to the last cord. And he's like, I know, and I'm just like, feel so sorry for them. Like they do so much for us. They do, and they're one person for a whole freaking like 3 or 4 counties.
It's really true. I mean, like when I was talking to Ranger Dawson, he was saying that I guess Hunter isn't really supposed to be his turf. Or maybe it's Catskills that isn't supposed to, the Catskill is not supposed to, but he was saying he's, because they're actually missing rangers. They have vacancies and spaces because they just don't have anyone. And, this is about a month and a half ago, I'm going out to Huckleberry Point out there, and lo and behold, his name's right on the register, local ranger, and I'm like, geez, this guy's he's got to be everywhere.
Yeah, he's definitely got the probably toughest area. That and Peekamoose is really tough, but I got to admit, Catterskill Falls and the Platte Clove area.
Now, did they close off? Is that a permanent closure of the lower parking lot at Catterskill?
That is a permit only area for, I believe, like it's from March to October.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the way I take up to my parents' place in Hunter, and it's always, I mean, when there were people parking there, I mean, it was just you got to go, people on the road, people taking pictures. I mean, it's just a matter of time before someone gets run over. Truck coming down that hill there, like it's you got a good head of speed.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but God, the pictures I used to see down in the Peekamoose area of people like grilling right on the side of the creek, and then leaving the grills there. I'm just like, what the hell's your problem?
Yeah,
like it's just I mean, I remember when I did that cleanup down in the Catterskill area, I was sitting there cleaning up, and all of a sudden, like a van comes out, and like 5 or 6 people come out, and they got like those takeout trays, like 6 of them, and every person. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, this is huge.
Catered affair.
yeah. And they asked me in a foreign language where the rat's hole is, and I'm like, if you're familiar, where rat's hole is, down the Catterskill area. And I was just like, I don't really know, I don't live here. But I was just like, wow, I'm just like, you brought that all the way up here, and you're probably not going to throw that away. I'm just like,
they're not packing it out. No, it's going to be back there.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why we give big thanks to the Rangers and the DEC officers and stuff like that help out during these times.
Absolutely.
And we say thank you to the Adirondack Fun Police too.
whatever we can do to help, that's what we're here for, and a couple laughs along the way too, hopefully.
So we just went over my next question, which was funny stories. So that was a pretty good story. But I mean, the Jeep incident has got to be phenomenal too.
The Jeep really was. I mean, just one of those things. You're back there, you put yourself in a situation. You park at the lodge, you get that first, couple miles under your belt. You're just getting back to the wilderness. You're on a hike. There's a Jeep rolling up the Jeep trail. I mean, it's just a wild image. I don't know if someone left the gate unlocked or how that works, but yeah, and just that was a crazy one. That was before we really had a major following, so I was almost more of a spectator for that one. A lot of the little things. I mean, we're talking about leaving grills in the woods. I had someone send me a picture of probably a $300-400 Weber grill in a backwoods campsite, just left there. And I'm like, well, one, I don't know how they got it back there, but I don't know to this day if someone went back there and got it, because it was a nice grill. It was actually up on a crane pond in Warrensburg. I think someone had lugged it up there. So it doesn't surprise me they didn't get it back down. That's pretty steep up there. But things like that, or we had a guy who live streamed him confronting another guy hitting golf balls into the Cascade Lakes. It's got just this absurd behavior. Like what goes through people's heads? Really, really mind blowing stuff. We touched on earlier, a lot of the stuff that we turned into, memes or merch designs, and that's a lot of fun. It allows us to, a lot of this stuff, there are serious violations, and they are, criminal, many of them. But, if we can have a laugh about them, it makes us feel a little better about it. It helps get the messaging out there about, why these things shouldn't be done. And, it's all, I try to take the approach, to keep everything fun and kind of light, even though some of this underlying subject matter can be kind of heavy sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's funny stuff. Like it's just great that we can, like you said, take these serious moments, turn them into funny moments, and then make education about it.
Exactly.
I mean, what the heck? Why not? So any scary stories? Like you ever get any? You sound like you get a lot of messages. Anybody send you a message like, we're in distress, help out?
Nothing, no, like rescues in progress. I mean, my first call would be 911 if that ever happened. I don't want that on my conscience. But probably some of the more, I guess, shocking things that people who you're familiar with the trap dike up on Mount Polden?
Yes. Oh yes, definitely.
So people, it's obviously it's more challenging than a hike, but maybe not quite a rock climb, I guess. I've never done it myself, to be honest. But people that get themselves, and I think a lot of it's fueled by social media, where people want to, they see something, they want to repeat it. I think you mentioned like that earlier, where people, it's kind of like a monkey see, monkey do attitude. But people, whether it's the trap dike or winter hiking or anything, people just doing things unprepared. I think that's probably the scariest thing we come across. The example I go back to is I was hiking Phelps in late winter. And there's a group of three guys coming up the side of the trail. They're not on the monorail. They're not on the icy part of the trail. They're off the side. They're post holing up to their hips with every step. And, that alone is concerning, but he's got, for his water, he's got a gallon milk jug full of some blue liquid tied to his belt loops with twine. And I mean, I was like, you serious? Like, it was just mind blowing. So, that's not even so much a fun police thing, but that's just like some of the stuff that, any person can see out there. And that's just stresses the importance of education, whether it's leave no trace or just, looking out for your own skin,
Yeah. I mean, I've seen pictures, of the trap dike. That's a serious area. I gotta bet. No, I'm sorry to swear, but no fucking around in that area.
You're not kidding. You one step up in the wrong direction. We've had people. I mean, I don't own a dog. I grew up with dogs. I don't own a dog. I get people like to hike with their dogs. But some people get their dogs in some tough situations. And I know there's been a few instances of people take the dogs up the trap dike. And, it's, I don't, maybe your dog can do it. It doesn't seem like a great idea to me, but, it's just some, I can only imagine. I put myself in the shoes of imagine you're a ranger and you got a call for a rescue in the trap dike because their dog is stuck up there. You just got to shake your head,
That's when I would get like 5 or 6 helicopters in there. Like, get it out quick.
Right.
Like, no humans. Yeah. We'll give us like 3 or 4 hours, but dog, get as many people up there as you can quiet fast. But yeah, there's that trap dike is no joke. I mean, I've seen pictures, and that's the thing is, like, people, like you said, monkey see, monkey do. I've seen that. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. But, I have experienced insane climbs up similar areas like Platte Clove and, Catterskill area. And you go from bottom to top of Catterskill. It's a challenge. It's just wet and slimy and
even with the stairs.
Yeah. And, the trap dike is one of those places that people are like, oh, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, look at my pictures. And then, you're 300 feet from the top of Colden, and there's that one spot where like it almost requires like a jump and a hook.
Yeah.
and they're just like, what do I do now? And I'm just like, oh my God, someone's caught up there again.
Yep, it perennially happens. I'd say, whenever I open up the Ranger reports on Adirondack Almanac or something, or the DEC press releases, I'm like, there's probably a 25% chance there's a trap type rescue in here, because it just seems like it's constant.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a no fuck around zone. But
That's yeah.
yeah, I mean, those are some good stories, man. That's crazy. I'm glad you're helping out. I'm glad it's taken off, man. Like I
Yeah.
can't believe, like, the one time I was talking, to my wife, I'm like, look at this guy. I'm like, this guy's cool. He's helping out the thing. And I go look at your screen. I'm like, wow, he almost 4,000 followers.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit. And then I look at your page. I'm just like, he's got all the stuff I like, kicking Karens, making memes. I'm like, that's great.
Exactly. We're not alone out there. There's many more of us.
Yeah. So good. So let's talk about the merch. Yeah. You just started this. So tell me about the merchandise.
Yeah, so the merch. So I'd been selling patches and stickers for a while as a way to kind of supplement this and give me some resources to keep everything going. And everyone loves a patch, everyone loves a sticker, but it was something I was doing it myself with a Google form and mailing it out, and I was just like, I can't, it got to the point where it was a lot to keep track of. And I want to take it one step further. I'm like, if we can do memes, we can do graphic T-shirts. We can have some other fun with stuff with this kind of stuff. So I had work with some graphic designers and had some things put together, and came up. We got 5 different designs. We got the Jeep, we've got the Karens, we got some fun stuff, and we also got the Fun Police logo on some things, and some T-shirts, some hoodies, stickers, some other fun stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take of the proceeds. I'm going to take 10% and kind of on a rotating basis try to divert that to some lesser known Adirondack charities. So, we're looking at, people have suggested Balloon Conservancy, people have suggested Lean-To Rescue. Everyone knows about the Mountain Club. I love the Mountain Club. I think the Mountain Club does a really good job. I think they're worthy of people's donations, but there's so many organizations out there in the Adirondacks or in New York or across the country that do really good work, really important work that maybe don't get the attention or resources that they could get. So if I can direct some attention to them and send a little money their way and have a little bit of fun at the same time, that's the goal.
It's perfect. I am thinking the same way as you. I of course, I got to do this Zoom. I got to pay for Zoom, microphone, stuff like that.
Exactly. Yep.
After, if people, I got my sponsor who I love, Sarah. You're awesome. You're great. Thank you. After a certain amount of the year, that the rest of that money that everybody donates is going to go to another donation in the Catskills. So
nice. Yeah, that's you got to keep the whiskey budget and the beer budget. That's fair. But no, it's nice to be able to give back, and maybe some other people latch on and spread out some donations too, and it's a snowball effect, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So I think that's our conclusion. So once again, look them up on Instagram, ADKfunpolice. Awesome place that you can learn and have fun, and also, make some good laughs about some serious stuff that should be taken seriously. And, we can make a laugh about it and then hopefully expose the idiot that's doing it.
There you go.
And then just like Hunter, the guy's going to apologize and then not apologize. And so thank you, Mike, for joining us tonight on Inside the Line.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I wish you luck. Hopefully sometime when I go up to the Adirondacks, I haven't been up there in a while, but I'll get to hike with you at one of the smaller peaks with a beautiful view. Yeah,
man. Let me know. And you ever want to have me on again, let me know. I'm sure we'll always have something to talk about.
Hell yeah. Something else goes on fire, we'll get that on there right away.
Exactly.
Once again, thanks Scenic Route Guiding for sponsoring us. I'd like to thank donors again. Once again, everybody's donated to the show. Thank everyone who's listening. I had a great time with Mike. I had a great time talking about memes and times in the Adirondacks and the Catskills. So I'm glad that he's probably should make it the New York Parks Police or something like that.
I'm gonna need a staff for that.
Yeah, right. You got to go over to Watkins Glen and stuff like that. That'll be fun. Subscribe on any platform. I'm pretty sure you can. I got them on all platforms. Look me up on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Look up Inside the Line, the Catskills on any one of those platforms. And once again, look up ADK Fun Police. Check them out. Awesome page. Buy some of their merch and then keep buying some of the merch, and the money will go to donations. So good job, Mike and the Adirondack Fun Police. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good night, and catch you later, hopefully.
Sounds good, man. Look forward to listening to the episode. I think it went well, and I think we'll get some good listens.
Damn straight.